I'm gonna share with you the 6 secret money strategies that took me from being broke to being financially free and not dependent on anybody. I was always taught that having a $100,000 net worth was the goal, but with a $100 million net worth now, I know that that is a scam sold to the middle class to keep you stuck. So here are the 6 strategies that I know will absolutely help you succeed in making as much money as possible as quickly as possible. The very first strategy to take control of your financial life is to stop thinking small, or you will never achieve the life that you want. One of the most frustrating things that I hear is that compounding interest is what's going to make you rich, or that cutting your spending on lattes is going to be the thing that helps you build real wealth. This is a lie that you have been sold. When you think about the idea of compounding interest, sure, if you started putting $500 a month and you put it in a vehicle that allows you to make 8% and that compounds, in 40 years from now, you could have $1.5 million. Let me tell you something, if you learned the right skills by the end of this year, honestly, in 6 months from now, maybe even in 1 month from now, you could have earned $1.5 million. I will never forget the very first time I did the math on this compound interest thing, and I was like, wait a second, I'm gonna be sacrificing the small amount that I make in my paycheck right now that's gonna make me feel like I'm conserving, like I'm constantly restricting myself, like I can't buy what I want. I'm gonna be taking the little money and I'm going to be putting it towards savings to eventually have $1.5 million in my bank account in 40 years. This is the way to not have control of your income and to be sold this lie, sold this idea that if you give somebody else your money, if you give somebody else your hopes and your dreams about your financial future, that they're gonna solve your freaking problem. They're not going to solve your problem. They make money off of you doing it this way. This is the slowest way to become wealthy, and it is sold to the middle class. So do I think that buying lattes and frivolous spending is the right thing to do? Of course not. That's not how you build wealth. You have to figure out discipline in your spending so you can create wealth, but it is a lie that you should wait 40 years and use the vehicle of compounding interest in order to make real money. You do not have to wait that long if you decide to take the right actions today. Now, if you're watching this and you think that having $100,000 is a huge milestone, let me just ruin you. Even if $1 million was your milestone, I promise you, you will still be broke. Being a millionaire, when you really do the math, is not what it used to be. So you have to be looking at money in real terms, dollars in today's terms, because what used to be a millionaire and to have a millionaire lifestyle is very different today because of this thing called inflation. So let's just ruin you now. Let's set the right financial target. Let's get clear on what type of life you want to have and how much money you truly can make so that you actually build the skills that are necessary in order to get yourself there. Because you saving your way to being wealthy is not how you get wealthy. You assuming that some bank somewhere is going to allow you to be rich because of compound interest takes all of your responsibility away and makes you a victim of you making sacrifices when instead you could just create money. So let's talk about how you do this. The second strategy is to broaden your thinking. If you think $1 million is enough, well, let's be clear. We need to do the math because in today's dollars, you are barely scratching the surface of freedom if you think that $1 million is gonna get you there. If you don't have a target for a $10 million net worth, then you're aiming to stay broke. And here's why. Let's do the math on making $1 million a year. If you do make $1 million a year, you are actually making $400,000 a year because there's this little thing called taxes. So you went from earning 7 figures to actually earning $400,000. And if you want to take one of those fancy vacations where your whole family is going with you to Europe, you're barely going to even afford the flights, the hotels, and the trip to go over there, much less doing it in a way that you would like to do it, that you see people doing it in movies or maybe even on Instagram or TikTok. $400,000 when you start thinking about your kids' tuition, when you start thinking about the house that you want to live in. Let's say you live in New York City or Los Angeles or Austin, Texas. You're all of a sudden very quickly broke, but you were sold this dream that making $1 million is going to change everything for you. So you have to change the target. I know this might sound ridiculous, especially if you're like I once was when I had $3,000 in my bank account and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can only imagine what it's like to have $1 million, to actually make $1 million a year. What would that feel like? I get that this is unreal, but I'm telling you the truth. If you want to have true financial freedom, you have to increase the target because you will still be broke and not able to live the life that you want when you're making $1 million a year. I'm telling you this and sharing with you this experience because it is so easy to listen to people who are in our lives and people who we might measure ourselves against, and we think that they're doing really well. But you cannot listen to people who are giving you advice that are telling you to do this slowly, who are telling you to do this over time. Take your advice from somebody who has actually done what you think you want to do and listen to what I'm saying. You will not be satisfied. You will not actually be financially free or able to do what you want to do through having a 7-figure target a year. And here's one reason why. Could you imagine what it would be like to be able to write a check to a charity that you care about, to a cause that matters, and be able to write $1 million check? You should be around people who can do that. Now, you can't write $1 million check if you're only making $1 million a year. So what really is the impact that you want to be able to create? And you can't make a large impact only making small dollars. So if you started this video and you thought, man, $100,000 would be great, and then I changed your mind, $1 million would be fantastic. Now I want you at least to have a minimum target of $10 million, because at that point you are starting to scratch the surface of being able to create the life that you want, and more importantly, make the impact on the things that you know could be better if you had the financial resources to impact those things. That brings us to strategy 3, which is to decide when you want to be rich and then learn the skills to make it happen fast. Do you want to be rich at 70 or next year? Because I can promise you the S&P 500 will not make you rich next year. When I was in my early 20s, I was looking for money advice, and I will never forget reading these books that were telling me all sorts of conflicting data about how to get wealthy. And they were these tools, these different ways of looking at money and investing your money off of your salary and managing a salary. Here's how you get rich. You do not manage a salary. You figure out how to increase how much you make. And the way you increase how much you make is by you becoming more valuable. So what I realized through reading these books is I had something called money noise. And for me, that sounded like maybe somebody needs to take care of me, because what if I can't take care of myself? Or what if I'm not smart enough to be able to make more money? Or I hear sales is a good thing to do, but I don't know that I have the confidence to be able to sell things. And all of these things, as soon as I started reaching for more money, I would start to tell myself would be the reason that I couldn't make more money, and that I should go back to looking at my $55,000 a year salary and managing it to hopefully set myself up one day to be successful and to be financially free. And then finally, I read a handful of chapters in Think and Grow Rich for Women, and my mindset instantly changed. Because instead of just playing this long, slow route in order to make money and to be financially free, the author made a challenge to set your net worth target in the next 10 years and to have it be something that is so outrageous that you would feel uncomfortable telling anybody about this target. And I remember thinking to myself, $100 million. Like it was an instant response. And as soon as I claimed that, in that moment, driving through Starbucks, listening to this audiobook, I just became a different person. It was like a switch turned on. Who is Natalie when she's worth $100 million? How does she walk into rooms? How does she make decisions? Who is she dependent upon? Who does she network with? How does she spend her free time? All of a sudden, I just became that person because I decided that that's where I wanted to go. Instead of allowing that money noise to make me stop reaching, I just claimed and decided that I was going to be somebody different, and instantly I started acting as if I was that person. Now, that didn't mean that I was spending money all of a sudden as if I was worth $100 million, but the way that I showed up changed instantly. And what is so cool is you can make that decision right now. Whatever your net worth target is, pick it. In 10 years from now, I am worth X. Okay, great. Now that I know that I'm worth $10 million or $50 million, $100 million, or even $1 billion, who is that person? What does that person know? What type of confidence does that person have? What type of adversity has that person had to overcome? All of the stress and the failure? Okay, great. If you know that you're gonna have to go through those things and you can just take all of that in right now, you can start to show up and learn things and do things differently because you recognize that you're going to get there eventually. So you're gonna have to go through the rejection, you're gonna have to go through the tough times, but you will get there because you've decided that you are that person. You're not gonna live into your money noise, you're going to create on the future that you want to have through financial freedom. So if you want to be wealthy next year, stop taking the safe route. The next strategy is changing your mindset from spending to investing. Invest all of your money on skills that can make you richer. I get people in their 20s asking me constantly, Natalie, what do I invest my money in order to be rich? Natalie, what should I stop spending my money on? You are investing your money in yourself until you have $100,000 in your bank account. You should be laser focused on acquiring skills, acquiring something valuable that you can then produce so that you can create income for yourself. And for most people, the starting point is learning how to sell. This is the simplest, most straightforward, and the fastest way to make more money instantly. Whenever somebody in their 20s starts talking to me about investing in crypto and that being what creates their wealth, no, that is not the way that you create your wealth. You create your wealth by having confidence in yourself that no matter what happens, if your investment portfolio goes up or it goes down, you can produce income. You are not dependent upon somebody else to produce your income. You can do that yourself because you have valuable skills. That is what you invest in. And you know when you should stop investing in this when you actually have earned money. When you actually have $100,000 that you're like, shit, I'm so proud of myself. Look at all this money I've generated. Now I can start looking at investing in other things to grow my skill set, to grow my existing assets. But until you've earned and can put away $100,000, do not start investing in things outside of you. You are the single greatest investment that you can make. There is no S&P 500. There's no crypto or Forex trading that you should be focused on. Focus on you because you can make that sort of money. Now, if you're in your 20s, you need to stop being reasonable with your money. I know that I mentioned that you are not going to go broke by buying Starbucks or buying whatever the newest lip gloss drop is. However, you have to use the money that you have to invest in your future self. So is a coffee going to make you go broke? Of course not. However, creating the discipline and those habits now to take the money that you earn, that you work your tail off for every single day, putting it away so that you can invest in yourself to get more skills so you can make more money that you can put away, to invest to get more skills so you can make more money to put away. And you creating this cycle is the game in your 20s. I'm never going to be the one that says you should have scarcity mindset, you can't go buy what you want. But if you can't invest in the course that you want, if you can't buy the books that you're looking to buy, if you don't have the financial resources for you to go and acquire the skills that you need, then you're spending your money in the wrong place. The places that you put your money are the places that you have interest in. So instead of feeling shame or like you have to make these sacrifices, just look honestly about where you're spending your money because it's telling you what you prioritize. If you are prioritizing coffee because you're able to hang out with your friends, it's likely that you're not actually spending time investing in yourself to be able to make more money because you're prioritizing your friends over that. If you're spending a lot of time at the bars and that's where your money is going to, then of course you don't have the time to invest in skill sets, to be reading books, to be taking courses, to educate yourself. So it's less so about feeling bad about those things and more so realizing, hey, where are my priorities? Because your money is following your attention. If your attention is on impressing other people or spending time with people that aren't going to get you to where you want to go, then it's clear that you're not actually going to make the money that you want to make because you're not really putting your attention and focus on making money. You're putting your intention and focus on something else. So it's not about constricting, but it is about looking and paying really close attention to where your money goes so that you can redirect your attention so that you can create wealth. I'm the last person to give advice on not impulse buying because there's nothing that makes me happier than walking into a store today, not having any expectation of buying anything, and being able to pick up a great pair of shoes or some fantastic blazer that I had no intention on buying before I walked into that store. However, today I am financially able to do that. Back in the day, if I would have made that decision to compromise on my financial goals, that should just be an indicator to me of, wait a second, why do the shoes matter more than my education or where I want to go? Do they matter more? No, they really don't. So I shouldn't put my money there because it's going to constrict me. It's going to take me backwards from where I'm trying to go. If you're in a place today where you have financial freedom, buy all of the things on impulse. You have the ability to do that. But if you know that you're actually giving up on your future self because you're reducing your resources to invest in that person today by making that impulse buy, just put it off a little bit longer. Wait until 5 years from now when you could buy anything from the store, you could have any meal at the restaurant because you're able to do that and do it over and over again, and you have confidence in yourself instead of doing it today, having that instant gratification, but really robbing yourself of your future. That brings us to strategy number 5. The ultimate flex in life is to be a fucking gangster in your industry. Not show off flashy things, have flashy bags, drive a nice car, have a nice bag. When you pretend to be rich, people who you're pretending to impress, they know. Like the people that you want to impress actually know that this is something that you should feel maybe a little bit embarrassed about because you're trying to be something that you're not yet. It's okay to aspire to have those things, but when you buy them before you can afford them, it's not a good look because who are you trying to impress? Who you should be impressing is yourself. And if you aren't a gangster at what you do every day, if you are not the best of the best, if you are not the top 1% at your job, the top 1% at the company that you work at, the top 1% earner wherever you are, then what are you doing to impress yourself to get there instead of just trying to impress people by the flashy things that you have? I remember when I bought my first Louis Vuitton bag, it was the dumbest thing I ever did. I quit college, I was making $55,000 a year, I had a few $1,000s in my bank account, and I honestly thought that I was rich. I thought that I had made it, I had so much money to be able to buy this bag. And I went to the Louis Vuitton store, I felt great for a moment, then I used the bag to go on a trip. My Louis Vuitton bag that cost me thousands of dollars was sitting on top of my Costco suitcase that I bought for $69 because I couldn't afford a more expensive travel bag. And my coworker at the time called me out on it. He said, "Is that bag from Costco?" And it was the bag that was underneath my big Louis Vuitton bag. And he made at least 10 times more than I made. And I actually lied about it. I tried to play it off. I was like, "Oh no, I got this from a retailer. It definitely wasn't Costco." He's like, "Yeah, I was at Costco yesterday. I saw that bag there." Oh shoot, I just got caught for this. And I could just tell, I felt uncomfortable. It was awkward. It was like, oh, I'm flexing, I have this big Louis Vuitton bag that's so nice, and here I actually have it sitting on top of this Costco bag. The Louis Vuitton bag was the wrong thing for me to do. It was the wrong action. I did not actually have the financial wherewithal to afford to be buying Louis Vuitton. But I had the desire to, I had the vision that that's just what I wanted to be able to do. And for some people that can sound silly. For me, it just sounds like I wanted to create a life where I didn't have to be concerned about making a purchase like that. Today, am I going to Louis Vuitton and buying Louis Vuitton luggage, and does it mean that much to me? No, it doesn't, because I know who I've had to become in order to be able to make it so that that doesn't mean a lot. But at the time, it did mean a lot. And at the time, I was making sacrifices in the wrong direction. I was making a sacrifice to flex instead of buying books, taking courses, and making my priority me, investing in me, making myself like me instead of making other people think that I was cool or think that I was wealthy. It was the wrong course of action. And I'm really thankful that I had one person in my life who was willing to call me out on it. And it made me uncomfortable and I hated it. But at least I had that person talking to me at 21 versus a lot of people just think that flexing is cool. So stop pretending to be rich. Just work your ass off and make it real. The way you earn respect is not by buying fancy things, and I get the urge and the desire to do that. I do. And I'm not saying you should never do it. I'm just saying wait until you can so that you feel great about it, so that you don't feel like, this was the wrong decision, or I compromised where I'm trying to go. Because the people that you want to impress, the people that you want to respect you, they will respect you more for waiting and for holding off versus you buying into the instant gratification and showing that your priorities are looking cool instead of being great. And that brings us to the last strategy, which is adopting the yet mindset. Because the only thing standing between you and success is the work that you haven't done yet. Still to this day, I have a yet mentality. I was with a friend recently, and she is one of the most impressive people I know. She has a Harvard, MIT, and Stanford degree. She has a variety of successful businesses, has an incredible network, and is also connected in the fashion world as an icon. And she was telling me about these opportunities that she has between going to the World Economic Forum and the trips that she's taking through the fashion houses that are hosting her, but also the venture capital firms that she's working with and her investment strategy for her portfolio. And I was mind blown as she was just going on and on about these incredible things that she does in her life. And I was so impressed that I actually walked away from the conversation feeling bad about myself. It's like, I have not achieved anything. What she has done is so impressive. Where would I even start to be like her? And reminded myself of this yet mentality, because I don't have her credentials or her experience yet. I don't have the opportunities that she has yet. I can be so happy for her. I can hold the balance between it is fantastic that she does this and I would want to do this, but I'm not there yet. And live in this place where it's okay that I'm not there yet, because I'm excited to get there, and I can actually be thankful that I could see that this is a potential in life, because without people doing such cool things, who are able to make massive impacts, who are able to inspire us, we wouldn't even know that that's possible. We wouldn't have this inspiration to look up to and to say, man, that would be cool to be able to do that one day. And so living in this balance of yet allows you to be okay that you aren't acknowledged yet. Okay that you haven't had the financial success or the business success yet. Okay that you don't have friends who support you yet, because you recognize that it's just a moment. It's just right now. This doesn't have to be forever. In 2 years from now, it could be different. In 5 years from now, you will make it different. In 10 years from now, you can live an entirely different life, unrecognizable in that period of time. But between now and then, you have to live in this balance of you're not there yet. And that's okay, because you are going to put in the work. You're going to become the person that you need to become. You're going to make the sacrifices that are required for you to eventually get there. But the way that you get there isn't by feeling bad about yourself, isn't by putting that person down or telling yourself, I don't really need that. Only people who are greedy or selfish, or people who aren't good mothers, or only those people have that. I'm really happy with my life. Don't get reasonable. Just keep this mentality of you're not there yet. My little trick in those moments to not feel bad about myself is to ask myself, what are the habits or the results that I would need to have in order to impress that person? If they looked at my schedule, would they be impressed by the way I spend my time? If they looked at my screen time, would they think, man, she's really well read. She listens to interesting podcasts and reads interesting books. Or maybe not so much. She's spending all of her time on Netflix, watching reality TV. Or maybe on TikTok or Instagram. If you really had to think about successful people and the people that you want to impress and the life that you want to have, if they were to look into your habits and look into your life, would they be impressed? Or would they think, well, of course I can't take this person seriously because they don't take their goals seriously? So those are my 6 strategies to make millions of dollars and not let what others have taught you hold you back. If you're ready for my brutally honest advice for women in business, check out my next video here.